I guess three 4-letter names for the robots. The first one I'm gonna be, I'll just pick it as SaGa, just to go along, and then we'll go from there. Alright, I guess we'll get started. 3, 2, 1, go. Alright, so 4 robots. So usually I usually just use one letter, so it's going to take a while for me to actually name them. I can move the microphone closer if it's better. Alright, so 4 robots is just more or less a big grind. Robots don't level up in this game. This game's actually really weird with leveling in general. Most of your characters gain just stats. They don't actually gain levels. The robots actually only gain stats by what you equip onto them. So, based off of what you equip on them will make their stats better. So we're going to make agility robots, since agility in this game is broken. Alright, so I saw a C-3PO. Oh, there's no 3. What else we got? The hardest thing in any RPG. Menuing. And I'll do die-in, sure. Alright, so it's going to be pretty much one robot doing most of the lifting throughout this game at first. Game sounds. Do you want me to adjust the sounds on my side, or can you guys get it? So we're going to pretty much be running from everything, and any equipment we do pick up, we're most likely going to be selling it. Very hard to hear me. I guess I could talk really, really close into my mic. Let me know if this is any better. The game is loud. I could turn it down on my end if you want. Alright, let me know if that helps. Really, really close works. Okay. So, as I was saying, we're going to be pretty much running from all the fights because we don't gain experience. So, once one character dies, you can pretty much run from anything. It's a lot easier. So, it's going to be pretty much me running until a character dies at the beginning here. Sometimes it takes a while for them to kill the robots. But once one character dies, they auto-revive after the battle. So they'll just be at 1 HP. The reason I picked the bow up there is because it's an agility weapon, so it'll give me extra agility when I equip it. Having the extra agility will help me be able to run from battles. And after I actually lose Mr. S, I'll be able to run from everything too, so I kind of skipped over that with all the audio issues. Mr. S is a companion. Every now and then you get a 5th party member, and he's just kind of there to help you a little bit. So we'll be able to run from everything until we get another companion. So the point of this game is there's magi spread throughout the world, and that there's a rumor that if you collect all of them, that you can turn into a god or goddess. So naturally, our dad decided to jump out the window at the beginning of the game and tell us that he's going to go stop people from using the magi. So we grow up later and decide we want to find our dad. And in the process, we also are going to start collecting the magi. So we talked to Key there, and she's telling us that if we go down here 3 to the south and 4 to the east of the rock, we'll find us the temple of I don't even remember what this temple is called. So we go there naturally because she told us to, because it's just any JRPG. So the dad is a pretty cool dad. The chat chose for me to use 4 robots. It was between 4 robots or 4 monsters. So the 4 monsters is more or less just all RNG. The monsters gain levels or evolve by eating the meat of other monsters. And that's all, like no equipment, they can't do anything, so... And then the robots are gain their experience or levels by equipment, so it's partially some of it is a grind. I hope you like the running footsteps of the game, because you're going to be hearing that an awful lot. Which do I prefer? I've kind of done the 4 monsters a lot more. Alright, so those guys tell us that someone's here and they take the magi and run. So these are the magi, and it's actually not just a MacGuffin in this game. You can actually equip it and it adds to your stats, so it's nice too. And it also acts as a plot wall, so that door said opened. If I didn't have enough magi, it caps it, like I can't enter that door. So I have to get those 3 magi. So it also makes it to, you can't skip magi in certain levels. Like if you don't have it, the game just won't let you through a door in the like overworld area, I guess. Oh, I just clipped through that lizard. But yeah, I prefer the 4 monsters. You can manipulate the meat drop. I don't. I think it's more fun to just kind of let the game do what it wants to do. So there's certain parts that you have to get a certain meat drop. And sometimes it takes, you know, 1 try, sometimes you have to fight the same monster 20 tries, and, you know, it's not good for speedrunning side of it, but it's... I don't know. It's kind of nice to just let the game do what it wants to do. So these guys I'll actually fight because they're a group of 6, and Key can just thunder them and kill them in one group. So the attacks in this game some of them hit the whole group, so there's like 4 flies here. So some of them will hit all 4, and some attacks will just hit 1 at a time. It took you ages to realize you could equip the magic. Yeah, I knew you could, but I didn't know if they did anything. Every meat has to be eaten by someone. Phew, that would be rough. But I never did 4 monsters as a kid, but it kind of intrigued me when I picked up this game to run. So that's why I started with that, actually. And I just started doing the 4 robots within the past year, because they kind of made like a challenge section on the leaderboards. So there's 4 monsters, 4 robots, 4 humans, and 4 mutants category. So I would have no interest in doing 4 humans or 4 mutants, but 4 robots and 4 monsters is fun. 3 useful monsters and a glutton, pretty much, yeah. So most of the treasure I get, I'm pretty much going to be selling it. I'll be keeping some things to make one overpowered robot. Alright, so we're up in this area because Key told us that Ashura's men were the guys. So when we left the other temple, there was 2 guys laying on the ground. They said Ashura's men took it. So when we talked to Key, she was like, Ashura's men? They shouldn't be here. I'll help you get rid of their base. So that's why we're up here with Key, destroying Ashura's base. And thank you for the good luck. So a lot of these groups of, like this one just big group, I probably could just be killing them with Key, but I kind of get in the zone of just auto-running, just out of habit, so I will not be doing the nasty dungeon in this run. There once was a path that we thought we had to go through the nasty dungeon for more money, but we got rid of it by trying to get the bare minimum to beat the game. And I'm clipping through people like crazy this run. So the nasty dungeon, for anyone wondering, is towards the end of the game. And at the end of the game, there's a dungeon that's 10 floors long that's just full of tons of treasure, but it's completely optional, which... Yeah, the nasty dungeon, it added a lot of extra money, that's pretty much it. But yeah, it added 15 minutes minimum, even if you only did half of it. And yeah, I'm definitely clipping through a lot of zombies. Alright, we blew it up. It was a load-bearing rhino at the end there. We'll make a... Alright, so this is the, like, I don't want to call it the overworld. I don't know what to call this. I don't even remember what it's called. But there's no battles up here, and this is kind of how you travel from world to world in this game. So the first world was called the First World. This is Ashura's world. So it's a giant desert. So as a kid, once you walk in here in the actual desert, you kind of can't go see where you're going. But as a kid, I would just walk around the whole desert because I couldn't find my way through this. The hub world. Alright, let's go with it. I like it. Oh, were-rat. That's what I need in the other category. So the game kind of holds your hand in the first world, as you notice. You get 2 companions, you know, no real super hard enemies. The game kind of holds your hand in this world too, as you'll see coming up. But after this, it kind of just is like, well, good luck. So we are still looking for our dad and more magi. And this is Ashura's tower that we're in now. Alright, so now that we have the saber, we're actually going to have a robot that's pretty powerful already. Okay, which one did I give it? So each magi that you equip... So as you saw there, my agility went up to 19, I believe. Alright, so if we use the saber, since our agility is so high now, it's gonna start one-shotting stuff. And yeah, the random battles are really bad in this game. Alright, so we got this guy named Mask who doesn't look anything like our dad except wearing a mask. So that's cool. So from what I heard, I don't know if I read it or heard it somewhere, the random encounter rate is so high because the game's relatively short. So to make a Game Boy game seem longer, they added a ton of random encounters to make it seem longer, which I guess makes sense. But what I was saying with the Magi, so it has the Magi, since I equipped them, oops, if you, each one that you have, so I have 1 agility Magi right now, it adds 3 agility points to my total agility. Those 2 treasure chests I'm skipping are, what are they? They're potions, like a strength potion and agility potion, but the robots cannot equip, or you can't use potions on robots. Alright, so we got a can't run because we have Mask with us. Since Mask is with us, it makes it harder to run having another companion. So I'm gonna save in front of him, in front of Ashura, just in case. So you get to hear some amazing boss music though. So the reason I keep the Colt equipped on my robots for now is because any extra damage can speed up this fight. That'd be really cool, Muppets in space. Alright, so Ashura, before we fought him, tells us that we brought him Magi, he can kill Mask, and that he poisoned Key, so we have to go visit Key again. But the game's nice enough to teleport us. So we find out that Ashura actually sent men, and they went inside of Key's body to try to get the Magi out of her, which naturally that's what you would do, I guess. And yes, I agree, the boss music in this game is really good. Alright, so the little fairy next to Key told us to go to Giant's World. So we're gonna skip past Ashura's World and go to Giant's World. If we try to go to these doors and we didn't have enough Magi, it would just say something like, "You don't have enough Magi to progress." So it's the game's way of putting up an invisible plot wall. Alright, so we're gonna actually run into some familiar face here. Gonna talk to Dad here. And he's like, "You can't go home. There's more bad guys like Ashura. Here, you're picking, collect Magi. No one will think you have it," and he just throws it all to us and then just runs away again, because, you know, that's what dads do, they just kind of disappear. Alright, so this guy tells us that where he got the Giant's gear from. So he tells us that Johnny told him. Oops. Oops, if I got the right tile. I don't know. I know a couple people in my chat have named our dad here in this game Deadbeat Dad. Since every time you run into him, he's like, "Hey, how's it going? Welp, see you later," and just kind of disappears. Alright, so here's Johnny, and he tells us how to get up to the stairs. And he asks if we think he's a giant. No double speak. So another thing in my chat is, because I mash and hold down A to get through the text, I tend to accidentally talk to NPCs more than once. So this is the spot in the stairs that you would never know is a secret door, because it's not discolored or anything. But if you don't talk to Johnny first about it, it's just like, wow, this spot looks familiar, or this spot looks different, or something just that makes no sense about it. So we have to come to this door first to get some Magi. Is Johnny a giant? I don't know. It doesn't matter what you say there. If you say yes, he's like, "Well, it's not true." And if you say no, he's like, "That's right, I'm not a giant." Alright, so if we don't get those two Magi, we can't open this door too. It'll just say that we don't have enough Magi. Johnny is a giant. Alright, so we have to get this eyeball, which is Micron. We're going to use the Micron to miniaturize ourselves. And then we're going to go in Key's mouth to help defeat the bad guys inside of her. Which, for how old this game is, that's kind of like a crazy idea in my opinion. I don't think I've ever played a game where you have to go inside of someone's body to you know, do a random plot point. So the sad part is, after you get this, it doesn't auto-teleport you back like it did after you defeated Ashura. So you have to go all the way back. Oh, Star Tropics totally did. I forgot about that. I never finished Breath of the Fire 2. And the Banana Wars, I will get to the Banana Wars, don't you worry. Oh, I almost forgot to buy something. Whew. So I'm not used to doing this category because I haven't done it as often, but you have to buy something in this category for the next mini boss to make it doable. So I have to make sure I don't sell the Micron because I did in my PB because it's been so long. Alright, so we got the SMG gun. The SMG attacks a group of enemies, kind of like Key's Thunder did. So it will take out groups of enemies, and the mini boss that's in this area is a group of enemies. So you could risk it and take them down one by one, but alright, so we're inside Key's body. This is totally what the body looks like, and I hope you like this music. If you sell the Micron, you can go back and get another one, but you have to go all the way back to the Giant's World. So, yeah. So, this is the inside of a body. I hope you like this music, because it's very tiresome. It puts me to sleep sometimes. But this is for any medical professions out there. This is definitely what the inside of a body looks like. Don't mind that there's, you know, cells attacking us and stuff. Which I guess they casually, or they would. But I mean, if some of these things, I am assuming they're supposed to be Ashura's stuff that was shrunken inside, but, you know, I'd be pretty terrified if I knew that there was terrorist amiibos and silvers in my bloodstream. This will be on the final exam. So this is just memorization. This is the hand, so there's 5 different paths you can go on. Samurais too, yeah. Horse or worms and crabs, I guess that can make sense. So there's 5 different paths since it's a hand, but after you just play it enough, you know where the Magi is in each one. So kind of what Dragon Lord was talking about the 4 chambers of the heart and stuff. The game actually does depict the 4 chambers of the heart fairly well. So this is the heart, we're assuming. So I always thought for some reason they were depicting Key as a cow growing up, and this was 4 stomachs, but obviously I'm way wrong. What if you're actually destroying her white blood cells? Ah, yeah, I guess we could be. So we kind of come up with a different theory that I'll touch on as soon as right past the when we leave Key's body. And it makes a weird twist, and it's kind of sad, but alright, so we're in her foot now. And the one thing they actually do depict pretty good is, since your toes are obviously shorter than your fingers, the toes, the little paths for the toes, are a lot shorter than the paths for the fingers, which makes sense. But it's just kind of like a little detail that it's crazy that they cared about. So, when we were talking about the random battles, one thing that's kind of weird about it is you'll see at certain times, sometimes you'll get in, you know, 3 fights in 4 steps, and then other times you'll go like 60 steps and you won't get in a fight at all. It's just really, really random sometimes. So this is, I assume, the intestines. And then I guess just going through the intestines and the rest of the body this way. And then we have one more in the other foot. So like I said, this is a What do you mean is the 100% run rate intended? I'm not sure I understand what that means. Then the next marathon will be 4 monsters. 4 monsters it's something, alright. So a lot of these runs for this game is pretty much you get, you know, 1 or 2 monsters or 1 or 2 things that are really powerful, and then just run from everything else. I guess this could be said for any RPG that's speedrun, but... Alright, so the last Magi is in her brain, so... Actually... Oh, there's a door in her body, too. And you can't go through the door unless you have all the Magi in her body first. So I'll save in here for... Oh, maybe I won't. Okay. Oh, the run rate. Okay, I took run as something else. So we run. We have pretty much 100% run rate right now because our agility is so high for the part of the game that we're in. All right, so this is our depiction of what happened with Key. We take all the Magi out of her, and she was able to heal people. But since we took all the Magi out of her, she can't heal anyone, so no one visits her in her little area anymore. No one visits her at the temple anymore, so it's actually kind of sad. We kind of ruined Key's life by saving it. Oh, and yeah, thank you, Shiro. I didn't mention that at all. The weapons in this game have durability. So, every time you equip a weapon, if it has 50 durability, when you equip it on a robot, it cuts it in half to 25. What's the 4 humans run look like? The 4 human run is a ton of grinding to get your character's stats up to be able to minimally fight the bosses. It's just a giant grind fest. I've never done any of them for robots, or for humans or for mutants, but I have no interest in doing them either. And then we don't even say bye because we ruined her life. Alright, so next world is Apollo's world. He tells us there's Magi here and thank you for defeating Ashura. But he is a giant person and has unique music, so we don't need to worry about him at all. So he tells us there's Magi in his world. He tells us there's some underwater, Magi underwater, there's some in a cave that you can't see pretty much, and then there's a cave to the north. So based off of his, based off of all that, he tells us where to go. So now we get to hear the same exact music again as in Key's body, except we're underwater now. Yeah, Zardia does 4 humans and 4 mutant runs sometimes, and like I said, it's just a giant grind. Mutants are pretty RNG, so mutants can gain stats. Mutants, espers, whatever you want to call them, they can gain stats. The treasure I skipped there is a power potion. It only sells for 500 gold, so we can skip that. Robots in lava underwater. Alright, so the volcano is done. So the next cave we're actually going to come to, there's a chance that we could get ambushed for the first time. Well, unexpected attacked, I'm sorry. That's what they call getting ambushed in this game. So I'll probably be saving in there a few times. If you try to come here without having True Eye, which we got in the volcano, you can't get to the next area, the next room. It doesn't let you. Each lava tile takes 1 HP off of us. Why is he in a mech suit? They're just robots, man. Robots save the world. The floor in the zone. The floor is awesome. Every time when I was a kid, I would try to walk with it. Get some more equipment to sell. Ooh, okay, so that fight we could have got surprise attacked on. Oh, sorry. Unexpected attacked on, and it would have not ended nicely. If you game over, the game pretty much just lets you try again. Except it takes another minute to like go through a giant cutscene to let you try again. Alright, laser sword. So the laser sword is another agility weapon, so our agility went from 19 to 33. So we should be able to run from everything. Also with the high agility, if they try to attack the robot should... Why is my controller must be sticking? The robot has a really good chance to dodge with 33 agility at this point of the game. In other categories, especially the 4 monsters, you can get monsters to make it so you can't get surprise attacked, so that helps out. There you go, I was trying to walk in unison with it to make it look cooler. Oh, there's the unexpected attack. So 8 guys get to attack us. So in this game also, if you attack a monster that's already dead, it's kind of like Final Fantasy 1. Your character just doesn't do anything. So a lot of times if they attack the same robot with, you know, 5 of the characters, or 5 of the monsters, if they kill them in the first hit, the other ones are just not going to do anything. So that's nice. So we got all the magi out of this cave, and then we get in 743 fights. I should do a fight counter one time when I play this game, to see how many fights I get in a game. Alright, now to the Cave of the North. So again, we're going to be picking up extra equipment in this category to sell. The enemy died. What do we do now? So this cave, as a kid, I was stuck in it for a long time. It's not mazy or anything, but you reach a certain point that you can't go back. And so if you can't beat, there's a little mini boss up here. If you can't beat him, you're kind of stuck down there. So this game's pretty unforgiving with certain things. So depending on how high I get my agility, a companion coming up might make it so I can't run from certain fights. We got a rocket, that's cool. All this stuff we're going to be selling to buy a couple things shortly here. Yeah, it's really easy to save over an extra slot in this game by accident. So there's 3 save slots, and when you save, it's just like, do you want to save? Yes, okay. Like, it doesn't even ask, like, are you sure you're going to overwrite anything or anything? Alright, so right there is the point of no return. So if you hit that point and you're not prepared, you won't be able to. Alright, so here we find Lynn, and she said that she fell down here and Donatus was down here. So we'll save in front of him just in case. We should be able to one-shot him, but you never know. So Lynn's pretty useless. And then we just one-shot him with our laser sword. Alright, so here we find Lynn and we're like, Dad, why is he with these random people? I thought he was a hero. And then we just kind of peace out. And we're like, whatever, let's just go get some more magi. Alright, now we get to sell everything. Except our elixir, we're gonna use that later. We have just enough, so I need 33,000. So I bought 3 laser swords to make the agility robot even more strong. Then we're gonna take the guns off of these guys. So we bought 3 laser swords, so we can one-shot everything now for a long time. Alright, so we got all the magic out of there. So, like, we kind of just said, we're like, alright, let's just leave that guy alone. So, here in the hub, as we've called it, just gonna keep going on. Alright, here we are in Guardian's world. And here, then the way you're supposed to know this, if you talk to the bartender, he says, why don't you listen to some music? So that's your secret, or that's your hint that you're supposed to go over and find a certain song to open up a secret door. And that's how you're supposed to do it. The Pegasus Cave? Yeah, the nasty dungeon. And this is the Final Fantasy Legend game with Apollo. They can't decide, they calculate, I'm sorry. Alright, so we're in jail, and we got let go by some guy. By the captain. So here we find the captain, and it's our dad, what do we know? And he's just like, hey, I haven't seen you in a long time, you should go to bed. So we listen to our dad and just go to bed, and then the place just explodes and goes crazy, look at that. Monsters everywhere. So I unequipped the first 2 guys. I guess I could have unequipped the last one. I unequipped them to just speed it up. So here we talk to Dad, and he's like, "Someone, new gods found our base. Let's fight them off." Oops, I totally wasn't paying attention. So here we got Dad with us. He's not bad. So every now and then I get a can't run here with Dad, and I'm not sure why. My agility is definitely high enough, but the other 3 robots have no agility, so that might be why. There's so many guys playing Cotton Eye Joe 50 times. So as you see, the robots are immune to some magic spells. Oh, we got an ice book, so that's just extra money for later. Strong, independent robot. Oh, someone actually does mention the heroic tune? Okay. Unexpected attack on the commando, nice. See ya, SaGa. Yeah, so I have 4 laser swords equipped to the robot. And that's why he's just destroying everything, because his agility is way higher than it should be at this game. Dad did nothing. Alright, so the commando tells us that they have Lynn in the next world. So we're gonna go save her. One of the shortest world in the game, and I get in 3 fights. Alright, so here's Lynn, and even though it looks like a ninja, they call her a monster. So Dad tells us to tell Mom that she loves us, turns into a nuclear bomb somehow, and destroys the ninja to save Lynn. So we're like, alright, well let's go home. But, what? The ninja lives from a nuclear bomb. But, that's alright, we can just hit him with a laser sword and kill him. And get a katana. General Grievous mode, I love it. Alright, so here we actually learn that our dad he's a guardian, so he protects the Magi. But Lynn's dad was also a guardian, but he died. So, your dad / captain kind of acts as a second, like a new dad towards Lynn, so she has a father growing up. So, you know, she's not terrible, I guess. He's not, you know, as worthless as we thought he was, I guess. But we just kind of forget that our dad blew himself up and just kind of just go on with the game, or go on with our mission. He's just a smoke bomb. He's off to get his cigarettes again. Yeah, he just leaves us again. We run into our dad so many times throughout this game, and he's just like, "Welp, see you later, robot." Alright, on to the next world. This is Venus's world. Here, we are going to run into a giant person, which has not symbolized anything while we started this game. And she's gonna say, "Hey, I'm glad you defeated Shura." I guess your dad's the builder. Father, why was I programmed? So in Venus's world, we are in a giant city that has a huge wall around it to keep all the ugly people out of it, because Venus only loves beautiful people. So this is the first part of the game for me growing up that I was completely lost, because there's so many random things you have to do to progress the plot. So the door to leave Venus's city is locked unless you talk to her. The next cave we have to go to, if you don't talk to Leon here, you can't go into the next cave we're going to. As Leon said there, he got exiled because he broke his leg, and he's only worried about Flora. Remember that. So we're in the sewers. We couldn't get in the sewers unless we talked to Leon because, you know, reasons. Those werewolves that we keep running into can surprise attack us. So yeah, this world in the game, when I played it as a kid, it was tough. There was lots of just, I didn't understand it. Alright, so we're just gonna laser the hermit down. So we got a key, and kind of like the same thing with the Micron. The key is an item in our inventory, but if we sell it by accident, we can fight the crab again and get another key. So I promise the other robots are going to be useful in this run. It's not just going to be a one robot run. So this door is opened if you have the key. 3 of the treasures are Magi, and the 4th one is a Mimic. When I used to play, or my old path for 4 monsters, I would grind on that Mimic chest. and lose tons of runs and be sad. So this part wasn't too bad with so the sequences, you know, it doesn't make much sense going up that you talk to Venus and then you can leave, then you talk to Leon and you can come in here. But it gets kind of worse. I guess you're supposed to know we're gonna have to talk to Flora next, and I guess you're supposed to base that off of you're supposed to know that based off of talking to Leon. Oh, and by the way, elixir is spelled wrong. It's elixir is how it's spelled. So there's that. It's a video game. The worm is savage, look at his face. Yeah, some of the monsters are pretty well drawn, I think, but some of them just look straight up ridiculous. That's a type of wild horse. Alright, so if we turn around, it says garbage dump. I'm sorry, it's not the sewers. We were in the garbage dump. So now if we talk to Flora, she said that she's got to get married to Niles because of Venus. And when we talk to her, lo and behold, a volcano appears. So naturally, you know, you don't want to go in a volcano, but because it just appeared, you know, you gotta go into it. I mean, it's a JRPG, right? How did Flora create a volcano? I have no idea. So those werewolves, like I said, they can surprise attack me. So we only had 2 unexpected attacks so far, but hasn't been bad. So we're going to be going through this volcano because it appeared. And we're going to get some more magi because even though it's like the secret stuff, you know, for some reason no one else can find this except our heroes. Even though it's supposed to be some rare thing. So we're gonna walk on some lava here, just like good robots do. So now that I went a pretty long stretch of no encounters, I assume I'm gonna get a whole bunch in a row. So if you haven't noticed, I guess I'll point it out since no one said anything. The game stops every now and then, and you notice that Leon is following us. I don't know if it's supposed to be that you actually notice it, or if it's the game's way of telling you, the player, he's following you. Alright, so there's another unexpected attack. Curious how he got through the lava. I almost pressed a fight for something for a second there. You want to be a champion of time and space. Yeah, I'm curious why they didn't put the super awesome names. Why we didn't get them translated to the English version. Lava's good for a broken leg. I like that. Alright, it's almost done with this volcano of doom. Oh man, I'm seeing a lot of banana chat talk going on in chat. Alright, so this is the whole reason we find out he was following us. So we get the power magi, and Leon just says, "Forgive me," pushes us away and takes it out of our hand. So we are, you know, kind of upset about that. Get used to the encounters. As much as it pains me to say. Alright, so Venus is the first time for me, after I figured out how to get to her, that this game just completely destroyed me. Venus was very hard for me growing up. And she's just a hard fight. Alright, so she's marrying Niles and Flora. And as far as I know, your robots don't die in the overworld. Alright, so she's saying they're getting married, there's no objections. Leon busts in and says he's going to defeat her with Magi and a knife. So she just smacks him away. And Flora's like, I'll do what you told, leave him alone. And she's not afraid now. So she grabs the knife and cuts her face. She's like, "I'm ugly, see you later." And Venus is like, "You can't do that." So that was the whole plot of this world, which is kind of cool that it actually got a plot. Alright, so she can be hard, depending on what she decides to do. So I can kill her in 3 laser swords. Alright. So the reason that fight can be hard is she can use the flame. She can use a flame attack, which hits your whole party. So if she hits you with it twice, even your good robot can die. So that's why we saved her, just in case. But other than that, it's a simple fight. But as a kid growing up, that fight took me forever to do. I used to buy a gun, a musket gun, that does like 100 damage, and just pray and hope that I could do enough damage before she killed me. Alright, so we actually got something that's kind of broken in this game. So SaGa's actually going to get the Aegis Magi now. So the Aegis Magi, if you use it in battle, it makes your whole party resistant to elemental attacks. So it helps an awful lot. So here is a dragon race world. We're gonna be racing on a dragon. So we can get surprise attacked in here too. So there's 4 dragons you can pick. The fastest one is really fast, but you have to do 4 mini boss fights. You know, then the second fastest is 3 mini boss fights. This one, the one I picked, there's 2 mini boss fights, and the slowest one there's only 1 mini boss fight. The reason we picked this one, at least what I'm gathering, is depending on which one you pick, depends on how you get magi from the fights. So this one doesn't affect the speed magi, so you still have 9 speed magi. If you do any faster, you might have a different number of magi for speed, and it would affect the damage on your agility robot. So here in any other category, you'll grind to get the Watcher to drop meat. And it's just a monster that you fight. So I reset there because there's 3 of them. If there's more than 2, the fight can end poorly. So we tend to reset there. At least I do. So the next monster I'm going to fight is kind of what's talking about in chat, is a Watcher. It's towards the end of the game type monster. So you grind on him to get... You grind killing it to get meat. So you can evolve your monster. But, you know, we don't need it this time. And there's 1, and it's probably gonna drop meat. Okay, good. So that's the race world. It's pretty tough. Congratulations. So with that Watcher, what we would do is just save in front of it and then just do the fight over and over again. And, you know, I've personally have gotten it in 1 fight. I've personally gotten it in like 25 fights. So it just depends what the game wants to do. Alright, so now we are in the Edo world. So here, again, kind of like Venus's world, there's tons of plot triggers that growing up took me forever to learn. First we have to sell a lot of stuff. And then we're gonna buy a tank. So the first plot trigger is we have to fight these, the Hamatos, I guess is that how you would say it. And so that's why we bought the tank, so we can just one-shot them. Alright, so, Hannah comes and she's like, I told you to leave these people alone, and we're like, she's pretty cool. And then that's it. So the next plot trigger is we have to talk to Hannah, and she tells us that she's a detective, she's trying to find some kind of investigation that we don't know what it is yet, and that we should go talk to Ichigoya about it. Some of the worst games you played, wow. So this is Ichigoya, by the way. So we're like, when's the next shipment coming in? And he tells us. So that took me forever to find out that if you talk to him in front of the counter, he sells you stuff. But if you talk to him on the side, he tells you stuff. Or he tells you where the ship is. Does the Seven Swords exist? It does. But I've never gotten it before. Alright, so here we are in the boat that everyone was talking about. He tells us that he's smuggling some stuff in. Again, we're just gonna run from everything we can. We can't get surprise attacked. So we're going to be getting a laser gun here. So now we're slowly gonna start making the other robots useful. Slowly, but we will. Got a tank. And then this one thing we have here is a Hermes boot, which we're going to be saving for a long time. Or a Hectite boot, I'm sorry. The Hermes boot was earlier. Alright, so here we find a guy named Taro. And we find out the ship is full of bananas. The banana smuggling is real. So now we can go arrest Ichigoya because the banana smuggling has been caught. For those that do not know, in the original game, it was opioids, I believe, and this is supposed to take place during the Great Opioid Wars of like the Edo period. Even though I think it was in China, but Edo is Japan. But that doesn't matter. But you know, in America in the 90s, we can't talk about opioids, so they switched it to bananas. So that's why he's a banana smuggler. The Seven Swords in this game is a drop that a super boss that randomly appears has a chance of dropping that's really broken. Alright, so we find Ichigoya, we tell him we got him, and he's just like, I don't know what you're talking about. And there is no bananas on this ship. And so they can't arrest him. So they beat Kami up because he was trying to find Ichigoya was doing stuff. And then the officer's like, give it up, some big people are concerned, it's getting out of our hands. Alright, so we're going with Hana to see Ichigoya. Let's see how much space, oh, we have plenty of space. So this is the mini grind of this game, of this category. So we need to see big groups of knights and gazers, and if we do fight knights, we need them to drop equipment to sell. So because the robots are 100% equipment based, we've kind of devised that we can just talk to this guy, and he'll just ask what we're doing here over and over again, and then we just can keep fighting him. So we're just going to be using a tank a lot to blow up stuff. Alright, so 8 knights, perfect. No item drop, that's okay. Yeah, get used to the tank sound. So this is the boring part of this run for sure. It's definitely just grinding, so... the reason we pick up the elixirs and don't sell them is for this part. When you use an elixir or a tent, it brings out, or it recharges how many times you can use your weapon. So even though we're down to 1 tank, I'll just use an elixir on him, and he'll have 10 charges again. So I got no equipment drop the first 10. Oh yeah, I'm sorry, elixirs. So I just A, B, start, select, reset if you can't run. Oh yeah, I'm sorry. Thank you, Audibit. It's only for spell charges for robots and mutant spells and for monsters. Wow, so these guys, I don't know what the chance to drop an item is, but they have 4 or 5 items that they can drop that we hope to get so we can sell it, and X-Cure is not one of them. They have an ice sword that you can get. No, crap, I didn't save. A katana, I believe, so... How does this guy have so many monsters to throw at you? I don't know. I don't question. I just accept it. I'm trying to think what I can buy with no item drops so far. So the real question is, what am I doing here? I'm fighting these guys over and over again to get enough money to make my characters not useless for the next couple bosses. The next couple bosses definitely, I don't want to say they're hard, but they're harder, especially than what we have been fighting. So this is the fastest way that we found that's consistent. Why saving instead of reloading? What do you mean? They're banana knights, I love it. So like this 4 I shouldn't kill, but I figured with all the extra battles I'm going to be doing with using multiple elixirs, I have enough money. So the nice thing is, especially, it seems like some of the fights I'm getting a pretty high monster count. So even though I'm not getting item drops, I'm getting, well, not this time, but I'm getting, you know, 5 or 6. If you run out of a tank, why wouldn't you reload to save instead of using an elixir? I mean, I need to kill them anyways because I need the money. So even though I'm not getting the item drop, I'm still getting 2,000 gold because I need to buy stuff. So you can do it without an item drop. The item drop just makes it a lot more comfortable, especially for later game. The item drops are definitely worth more, but for time's sake, we try to not refresh over and over again if we can. Alright, so that was my last one. I didn't get a single item drop this time, so that's terrible. So I have 1 tank left, and I have to use that for the next coming fight here. So here we find Ichigo is talking to Shogun, talking about their bananas and how much money they've gathered. But since we are robots, we have a music system built into us, so we change the music on them. Oh, we got a Vulcan, so... Oh, I did, I'm sorry, Zelmir's right. I got 1 X cure, which doesn't help at all. Alright, so Tora tells us he's a Guardian too, and he knows Captain. He's like, how's he doing? And we're like, he's gone. So... Toro is going to help us defeat Shogun to end this madness with these bananas. So since we used all of our tanks, we gotta go to this inn that this rock is not moving from. And hope that we have enough money to make our characters not useless. So you are gonna get a tank. And I'll put the Hectate boot on you so I can't sell it. You're in a laser gun. Alright, so I need... Alright, that wasn't terrible. So Cat Claw... Cat Claw... Alright, we had just enough money. Oh, if you press B in the overworld, your companion will say something. So we actually did have just enough money. Barely. Yeah, we actually needed that Vulcan drop. Or else we would not have had enough money to make my team not useless. So right now we still have a ginormous, huge, overpowered robot like we have in the past. But Robot 1 and 2 are now not as useless. Robot 3 is still useless right now. Or Robot 4, I mean, I'm sorry. Alright, so we're gonna reset an unexpected attack there. That's why I saved. You can get lucky and fight just one enemy here. It doesn't happen often. Alright, another unexpected attack. Let's reset that. So the stone men take 2 tanks, which is why I used both of them on him if my one character doesn't die. The tank is so good for this reason. As you saw there, it defended an attack. When they tried to attack one of my characters with the tank, or with a move, the tank blocked it. Thanks for the meat game. So our agility on the one robot is it's 99, it's maxed out. So the third tank is going to be doing, or robot is going to be doing a ton of damage. So we're just going to be running from everything as usual, picking up all the treasures like usual, and going to go beat up Shogun here, because he's ruining this world. And we keep running into Guardians and they keep helping us. So can robots eat meat? I guess you could technically say yes and feed it to the robots and it just says it does nothing, or it did nothing. Or nothing happens, I'm sorry, that's what it says. It says nothing happens if you try to eat it with a robot. If you try to eat it with a human or a mutant, it also just says nothing happens. So I'm going to save in here because I have gotten part of the way through here and got surprise attacked, and they stoned Taro. Actually, they turned him to stone. So I had to do the next coming fight with without my companion. So the body potion, it adds. The body potion adds life, HP to your character, but you can't use it on robots. And they're going to town. I should probably heal up and stuff, but I'll just save. They can eat the bananas, that's right. So this sword is actually what we need to make the last character not worthless. Oops. So Dine is actually going to get his first not terrible weapon. He's going to get a dragon sword. So the first robot is kind of a defensive robot. He's there to just kind of be a meat shield. The second and third robot are going to be agility-based robots, so they're going to go super fast and attack pretty strong. And then the fourth robot is going to be a strength robot. Strength is terrible in this game because if you have really high strength but no agility, you're going to miss all the time. So agility makes agility weapons deal more damage, and it makes them hit more often. So this bow here, as a kid growing up, I missed that bow all the time because it just kind of blended in. All right, so Taro says he's here to take Shogun's life, and Shogun just kind of cries. Alright, so Shogun is dead, and we got 1 gold. So this is when we find out the real bad guy is Magnate, which is the Shogun's dad. So we're gonna heal up with Taro. He's got a cure book. So the move we want to hope we don't see is Tornado. Even casually, if he uses Tornado on you twice, it doesn't matter. So we're gonna use the Aegis Shield and hope we get it up soon. Alright, perfect. Alright, so now my team can't be hit by like ice, thunder, like elemental attacks. Tornado is non-elemental though, so it still destroys my party. I hope you like the sound of laser guns, by the way. So that thunder would have done damage, but since I have the Aegis Shield, I used it at the beginning of the fight. My guys are protected. Alright, 10 Magi left, let's go. Alright, so that boss definitely messed me up as a kid. Menus and laser guns. So this is the coming up to the big fight that always is tough for speedrunning sake, because it's the first boss we're gonna fight that doesn't have. He's not by himself. He actually has people with him. So this is the nasty dungeon that everyone talks about. We just go in and take the Magi and leave. But if you stay there, there's actually 10 floors of treasures and monsters that are hard. But we skip that in every category because it just takes too long. Alright, so we are in Valhalla now. So this music, if you play it casually, you probably know it. If you die during a fight, you hear this music. When is Nasty Dungeon percent? Well, Zardia just answered that. 4 humans and 4 mutants category goes to the Nasty Dungeon, so there you go. So, with the Nasty Dungeon, if you go to the end, if you get through the whole thing, the fairy that's at the beginning, she tells you that it's a nasty dungeon, don't go through it. So she's waiting at the end, and if she asks you, well, it was nasty, wasn't it? And if you say, yeah, it was nasty, she's like, see, I told you. But if you say, no, it wasn't nasty, she says something like, oh, well then you just have to do it again, and it sends you to floor 5 right in the middle. But yeah, it's a jerk move because, you know, you kind of think nothing of it as a kid, like, oh, I didn't think it was that hard. And then all of a sudden you have to go through it again. So we're gonna make this guy, so he's got 82 defense, so the SaGa defensive tank can take some hits. Yeah, the first time I saved because I thought it was a boss when I was a kid. So the first time I did it, I was like, what just happened? Why am I in the middle of the dungeon? Did I break it? And then so I just reloaded it and pressed the other answer and she let me pass and I was like, oh, okay. The Flare book. Which one's your favorite enemy, Semi James? I'm kind of curious about this. I probably know it, but is it a certain type of bird? The Odin Crow, I thought that's what you were gonna say. We just ruined who the next boss is for people that have never played this before. Alright, so the next boss, since he's in the next corridor, is Odin. If you die at any point during the game, right towards the end, an unexpected attack. Anyways, if you get attacked, or if you die during the game at any time, while you're playing, you'll be summoned to Valhalla, and you can go talk to Odin, and he's like, hey, if you promise to fight me someday, I will let you go back and try to fight again. So if you do that, you can try to fight. Oh my gosh, these are not fun fights before Odin. So, but since we didn't die during the game yet, instead of Odin talking to us like he might, I don't have anything to heal. Alright, so here's a little trick you can do with robots. If you unequip and re-equip stuff, it gives you your HP back for robots. So because we well, he doesn't matter. Because we didn't die, instead of Odin actually talking to us before we fight him, he's just gonna go straight into a fight. Oh, and yeah, you can get unexpected attacked. Okay, I need that to not happen either. Yeah, so for whatever reason, when you unequip when you equip weapons on robots, they gain HP. So with equipment, or something that doesn't have spell charges, you can just keep unequipping it and re-equipping it, and you'll be fine. Alright, so we got the Aegis shield up, so now we're protected against, lightning, thunder, and ice, which he tends to do. So now that we got the Aegis shield up, it's not that hard of a fight, because he's not the smartest sometimes. Sometimes Odin goes on just rampages and just uses, he just uses his Gungnir over and over and over again. So when we had the Aegis, or the Pegasus ability, if you use it for whatever reason, it teleports you to the other side of Valhalla's little castle. Oh, yeah, you just make it optional. In the DS version, it accuses you've not truly ever lived. Yeah, I mean, if you've played this game casually, you've probably died, because especially, like, I think Venus is definitely the biggest roadblock as a first time playing. Every other boss, the game kind of is gentle towards you, in my opinion. But Venus is the first boss that you don't have anyone to help you fight. If you die for real, you don't see Odin, you just die. Alright, so Apollo is the real bad guy. He tells us that he actually has the 77th Aegis, or the 77th Magi, and we have 76 of them. Tornado. So he wants to become a god, so he's sending his minion after us. So even though he tornadoed, we were okay because we did a ton of damage. Alright, so Paulo takes everyone we've met throughout all the worlds hostage unless we give him the 76 Magi, so we give it to him. And then we get told not to lose hope. And look, Dad is alive. He's like, of course I'm alive, why wouldn't I? And he says that they tricked the world in saying how many Magi there were, and that we're going to get the last real Magi. So he's telling everyone, or the Guardians told the world, all the worlds, that there was only 77 Magi, but there was really 78 Magi. So Apollo took all of them, but the hidden one that's conveniently located in a cave. How can a robot have a dad? Shh, just go with it. Alright. Crap. Alright, well I accidentally bought something. Alright, so we're gonna finally make the strength robot useful. All Game Boy RPGs get compared to Pokemon. Alright, so this is the final dungeon, and this world is called the Final World, by the way. So here we are going to go through here and get all the treasure as usual to make our robots even more broken. So we got karate. So the walls always look like little faces, little spooky faces, yeah. Get some extra agility on that robot. Whoops. Why would you call your world that? It's just asking for super, yeah. The town is called the last town. So we're saving in here because we can run into cockatrices, since everyone knows about cockatrices. And they can just turn my guys into stone, which would be less than ideal. Did you like the min-maxing? So I could technically be fighting the robots in here, and the magicians for a chance to have item drop, but with the way the game is giving me item drops, I'm not going to. Why can the robot get stoned? You know what? I don't know, and I don't question. The PAPO thing is, it's that makes the robot resistant to paralyze and poison. So the circle, in this game, like the circle means you're immune to it, so. Yeah, but that is a good point. Why are they stone robot is rust. So as you see, my robots all of a sudden, within the past couple of worlds, have gotten crazy powerful. What is this? Oh man. Alright, I think we're good. I think we got past them both, all three of them. Alright, so yeah, the cockatrices can be evil. I believe the Watchers also have stones, so they can also stone the robots. I'll wait to see. So SaGa cannot be petrified, because he has the ninja? Either the ninja or the dragon equipment, whichever one he has equipped, makes him immune to being stoned. Alright, so this room as a kid, I didn't know that you can just walk through the wall here and get a secret treasure. We get the Excalibur, so now our strength robot's really good. So the Excalibur, even though you have to use agility to hit stuff, the Excalibur hits no matter what. So, and it's based off of strength. So that's why we have one strength robot to just do massive damage with his Excalibur. So I'm not going to get it, but if you go to the right, you can get a weapon called a nuke bomb. And it just does like 400 or 500 damage to everything. It's not very good, even though it should be for its name. So we're coming up to our boss of the final dungeon cave. Alright, so we're gonna fight a war mech, naturally. Alright, so he dropped a nuke bomb on us. Oh, War Mac, I'm sorry, it's War Mac. Alright, we get the last Magi in the game, which is the Heart Magi. Alright, Alright, so now I get to go on another shopping spree. Oof, I do not have a lot of money. Alright, yeah, so that was the war machine. He's not very hard. So we need to buy some elixirs and a tent. What does Magi do? Well, so the Magi is the MacGuffin of the game, but you can actually use it. So we got the Heart Magi, so if we use it in battle, it brings everyone back to life. It brings everyone back from the dead at full life. This park's great, Banana Wars. But throughout the game, depending on which ones you have, there's, you know, Ice, Fire, all the power, defense, they do different things. So I'll actually equip it as a just in case. I should not need it because the robots are pretty strong at this point. Alright, so here is Apollo. I died to him a lot as a kid. Like, days and weeks, and I just could not beat him. But you can... The first 5 turns he has the Aegis shield up, so you can't really attack him. But laser guns, flares, and Excaliburs go through the Aegis shield. So while he just sits there and talks to you for 5 turns, you can just do massive damage to him. Not even looking at us. But yeah, when I was a kid, I assumed that the first 5 turns you either didn't do anything or it didn't matter. So I would just do run and it would say can't run and stuff. Alright, so here comes, he says. So now that the music's changed, we can actually use our cat claws, which are going to do a lot more damage. So the reason Dad's doing so much damage is because we saved that Hectite boot, which increases his agility, or his magic. So Apollo, oh yeah, so if you do enough damage, he just transforms into melty form. So then this last phase you can just run, and since he's melting, he explodes and your dad jumps in front of you. And then Dad fell right on. And that's the Apollo fight. Damaging the first form does actually do something. I did not think it did as a kid. Alright, so we used all the Magi since we actually had the last one. And now Ice is his form. So now we have Isis. Alright, so because of reasons, and for the longest time, I assumed Apollo was the last boss of this game for the longest time. And I was dead wrong. Yeah, if Dad is not alive for that event, you game over. So Dad has to be alive to take that flare. All these fights, you cannot run from. Yeah, the game definitely makes you feel like Apollo is the last boss, so as a kid, it's not the real last boss thing kind of definitely kicked in. When I was smashing through the text, we learned that the Earth is unstable now that Magi was used. So we have to go to the core and fight the security system because reasons. A heal wand? I don't think I've ever gotten a heal wand down here. So the reason we bought so many elixirs and tents is for down here. So gas does not work on my robots. I am not, sorry, I'm not. Actually, I did use a flare. So, if you use an elixir on Isis, she gets all of her flare charges back. Yeah, there's not really much to say here. You're just kind of crawling to the center of the Earth, and you're gonna try to fight some security systems. So the reason I spread out my attacks with my other characters besides Isis is because there's a chance they could attack first. Alright, so this guy, he always drops meat for any other run, but he also has Tornado, which does massive damage, and he lives through like everything. So, there's also one more mini-boss coming. So, when I get to him, I'll actually eat the meat just so chat can see what happens if you try to eat meat with a robot. I guess I could just... next meat that drop I get, I'll do. That doesn't have to be from a mini-boss. I forgot I have to fight everything down here, so... Oh, no flares left. Whoops. So agility also affects your turn order. So since my guy with strength has no agility, he's always going to go last. If he lives. and it didn't give me a chance. I was so used to just holding A that I didn't get the push down to go to the flare. So yeah, tanks block regular attacks is why you're just hearing explosion after explosion. So yeah, here we're fighting a T-Rex, the SS. You know, normal things you fight going towards the center of the Earth, I guess. I'm getting pretty unlucky with, So, what happened there is, my one agility robot, sometimes the game, you have too much agility is what I'm guessing, and that robot went last instead of first, one of the first. So that's why they just put all of their attacks in a row. Yeah, I'm also, it's funny to me that there's terrorists and SS and everything like that, but they felt they had to change opioids to bananas. It's funny to me. Or opium, I guess. So this is where the encounter rate really is noticeable, because you can't run from the fights at all. So you just kind of have to deal with it, unless you manipulate the battles. Alright, so if you eat meat, it just says nothing happened. So I used a tent before that fight to give all of my guys all of their spell charges back, or item charges. As you see there, the Excalibur has a line through it. You can use the Excalibur unlimited times on any kind of character. And everyone thinks this game's based off of Pokemon. This came out so many years before the Pokemans did. Alright, so we have a chance to run into a super optional boss here. It's just completely random if you run into her or not. And if I do run into... Oh! Alright, well I guess we're fighting her then. So she can use Quake, Flare, I assume it's a she, that's how I call it. She can use Flare, Quake, and she's really, really powerful. And she recovers a lot of HP every turn. I kind of feel like I have to fight her. So this is the chance to get 7 swords in this game, if we get it. And I will say before, I've never gotten the 7 swords before, so... Just saying, game. Oh, we didn't get it. Well, that's the super optional boss in the game. She's... Oh my gosh, I don't think I have any. She's the only character that... Whoops. She's the only character in the game that you can run from, or the only character, the only monster down here that you can run from. And I also forgot to use an elixir on Isis after that, so hopefully this fight goes okay. Thankfully our tanks are just destroying everything. It has the ability to drop a 7 sword, which is an insane sword, so... I've never gotten it, so I can't tell you how powerful it is, but I know it's powerful. So this is kind of like a giant maze that you have to try to find your way through if you don't know the path. If you go to the left there, there's an elevator and it says, oh, the elevator is not working. Alright, so this is the last boss. Yeah, the any percent does get it. Alright, the security system, I'm sorry. So Isis is taking on one and we're taking on the other one. Alright, so the first phase, it uses that beam, and it has 4 cannons. So depending on... each cannon has roughly 1,000 life, so... or HP. So you want to try to kill them as fast as you can before it gets an attack off. So the 4 cannons are destroyed, so it's going to go to its second phase. It's going to use a move called Smasher. It's going to be single targeting random damage. Of course, it does a lot of damage sometimes. So I'm probably going to die. This is the biggest RNG side of this category. Just depends on how Arsenal feels like being. So the third phase uses a big Smasher attack. It hits all party members for anywhere from 68 damage to like 600 and some damage. It's like 620 damage. But there's nothing you can do about it. It doesn't matter if you have max defense or anything, it's just completely random. So if you die, you just go back to here. So the biggest factor for this category is destroying at least one of the cannons in the first round. Alright, so we killed it. This is good. So we killed one of the cannons, so it'll do less damage in this first round. And then we'll kill the second one. So it does damage based off of how many cannons are alive. Different categories, this isn't as big a deal, because you can have a monster, per se, that can heal your party. Alright, so that's what we want to see. We want to see the Smasher in the second phase either get blocked by the tank, which is why I use it, or attack one of the agility characters, because they have a chance to dodge it. Not hit dying, because he's strength and has 0 agility. Alright, so 2 turns. It's going to go to his third phase this turn. The third phase music's really cool if you can actually hear it without me getting destroyed right away. Oh, there you go. This, I guess this is like any SaGa game, right? The last boss will just do what it wants to do. Let's equip the... Let's equip this healing staff and see if it gives me... Oh, there you go. More defense, or more HP. Alright, so I got 80 more HP. It'll help, maybe. So the monsters work as you have a set you have a set like path that you take, and you don't eat any meat off of that path. So there's certain monsters that they have moves where they can heal themselves if they attack, or heal other people. So it makes this last fight not as bad because they can just deal damage and heal at the same time. If you play casually, you'll probably have someone that has a healing staff that can heal themselves. So again, terrible luck with these second phase smasher damage rolls. Any of the kind of challenge categories, so 4 monsters, 4 robots, 4 mutants, 4 humans, any of those, these fights are insanely hard against Arsenal, just for the standpoint that you don't really have anything you can do about anything. And then if you do have a chance, you miss. So this is the reason that I'm not the biggest fan of this category. I like to show it off because I think it's kind of cool and unique that you can get through the whole game with just robots. You know, basically it's pay to win, you know. I'm gonna buy all my equipment and win. But you know, it's frustrating to watch complete RNG, but you know, that's half the games in the next 2 days, right? So the only thing you can kind of control in this fight from a speedrun standpoint is hope to do damage fast enough that he switches to the second stage. Hope that well, I guess it's not, you can't control it. You can use tanks, so if he does attack you on the second phase of the smasher, you can block it. Only half, I'm sorry. Alright, so he didn't hit us with the mini smasher at all, which is nice. Alright, everyone lived. That's a good thing. So all this is extra damage. There's a chance, a small chance. Never mind. What? Okay, and you can load games and get into fights too, so there's a thing. I'll just reset, there's no point in doing that fight. I apologize for alright, so if I get lasered without destroying a cannon on the first round, I'm probably gonna reset because it's just doing too much damage. Oh my goodness. Man, I actually was not on terrible pace, and I was actually close to being on time. Alright, so one cannon's destroyed, so that means it'll save me a lot of HP, having only hit by 3 instead of 4. And then the Excalibur pretty much automatically kills one, so... NPC lives matter. Oops. Alright, so 2 misses on the second phase is good. So then we're gonna go to the third phase and just give me... I need a lot of those RNG blesses, please, in chat. That would be great. The healing wand I cannot use because my robots have 0 mana stat, so I would heal for 0. Alright, well I'll use those blesses for this round, I guess. The tanks allow you to block attacks based off of just what their ability is. They can block certain attacks, and the Smasher in Phase 2 is a physical attack in the game, so it can count as being blocked. Yeah. So I mean, with what I got dealt to me, and by getting no item drops from the night grind when I was grinding for money in the Edo world, with getting no drops there, it kind of limits how much equipment I could buy without grinding somewhere else. Having a character die on that first big smasher just... it's ruthless. There's technically a chance that they could all live, but it's probably not gonna happen. Okay, or it's gonna happen. And that's time. Alright, well, there you go, I guess. So yeah, that's Final Fantasy Legend 2. So we saved the world, and Isis is just telling us in 1,000 years she'll wake up again, and that's it. And she's gonna... The elevator works, by the way, that's what she tells you. She's like, the elevator works, by the way. Alright, so we take our elevator back up, and you find Dad. And that's the game. Thank you for having me and everything. It was a lot of fun. This is kind of the main game that I run. I try different categories, and yeah, just stay tuned the whole weekend. Lots of SaGa games, lots of RNG and stuff. Thanks for having me, I guess. I don't know what else to say. Thank you for all the GGs, all the runs. We get to hang out with Dad. He's gonna take us through the worlds and see everything. But since I'm over time, I will just get off and stuff. Thanks for having me and everything, and see you later, guys. Enjoy the weekend. Bye.